Okay, so get this. In 2025, we're going to see something incredible.
In 2025?
Yeah, February 28th, 2025.
Okay.
We're going to be able to see 7 planets.
Wow.
All lined up in the night sky.
All 7?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be like straight out of a movie.
I know people always see like 2 or 3 planets close together
Right.
and they get excited.
Yeah.
But all 7, it's pretty rare.
It's super rare.
Yeah. We're not going to see this again until 2040.
So we need to talk about this.
Yes, we do.
It's called a planetary parade.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see every planet except Earth, of course, lined up across the sky.
So how are we going to see this? Like, what are we actually going to see?
Oh.
I mean, is it going to be like a straight line across the sky or?
No, they're going to be kind of stretched out in a diagonal line.
Okay.
Across the western horizon.
Okay.
So after sunset, you want to look west, and they're going to start low and kind of go up from there.
Okay, cool.
Now you can see 4 of the planets with just your eyes.
Okay, which ones?
Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And what about the other 3?
You'll need some binoculars or a telescope to see Mercury, Uranus, and Neptune.
Makes sense.
But just seeing Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn all lined up,
Yeah.
that's going to be amazing.
I bet it will be.
Now, have you ever seen Venus in the night sky?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually pretty bright, right?
It's the brightest one.
Right.
It's going to look like a little diamond.
Wow.
Mars is going to be red, of course.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then Saturn will have this golden glow.
Oh, that's cool. I
Yeah.
can't wait to try to see that one.
I know. So we're going to make sure everybody knows how to find them in the sky.
Yeah, we should do that.
But first,
Yeah.
let's talk about how this even happens.
Right. Are all the planets actually in a line?
Well, not really. It's more about perspective.
Oh, okay.
You know, all the planets are going around the sun,
Right.
but they all have their own speed and their own path.
Right. Elliptical paths, right?
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
sometimes they just happen to line up from where we're standing here on Earth.
Oh, so it's like runners going around a track.
Yeah.
And sometimes they look bunched up,
Exactly.
even though they're not actually next to each other.
Yes, exactly. It's just how it looks from our viewpoint.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I know. It really makes you think about how huge space is
It does.
and how everything is moving and working together.
It really makes you feel small.
It does, but in a good way, I think.
I think so too.
You know, throughout history, people have always been fascinated by planetary alignments.
Really? Like even ancient people.
Oh, yeah. They didn't have telescopes or anything,
Right.
but they could see the planets.
Yeah.
And they would come up with all sorts of explanations.
I bet they did. I mean, I'd be looking for answers too.
Like in ancient Babylon,
Uh-huh.
they would look at where the planets were when somebody was born.
What?
Yeah.
And what did they do with that?
Well, they thought it could tell them about that person's personality and their future.
Oh, wow. Like astrology.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of where astrology came from.
Oh, wow.
So even though we know the science now,
Right.
there's still something kind of magical about seeing all these planets lined up.
I agree.
It's like a reminder that there's so much more out there than just us.
It really is.
So let's talk about the planets themselves.
Okay.
We've got 7 of them to talk about.
Yeah.
Each one is unique and fascinating.
I'm ready.
Let's start with Mercury.
Okay. The smallest one, right?
Yeah, and the fastest.
Fast in what way?
It orbits the sun in only 88 days.
88 Earth days.
Yes, 88 Earth days.
Wow, that's crazy fast.
And it's super hot.
How hot are we talking?
Over 800 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live there.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so Mercury is small and speedy.
Yes,
And scorching hot.
exactly.
What about Venus?
Venus is kind of like Earth's twin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in terms of size.
Okay.
But it's a very different story when it comes to the atmosphere.
Oh, how so?
Well, it's got this thick atmosphere made mostly of carbon dioxide.
Okay.
And that traps heat like crazy.
Oh, no.
It's like a runaway greenhouse effect.
Oh, wow.
The surface temperature can get up to 900 degrees Fahrenheit.
900 degrees.
Yeah, hot enough to melt lead.
Yikes.
So yeah, Venus is beautiful,
Uh-huh.
but you wouldn't want to spend much time there.
Definitely not.
Okay, let's move on to Mars.
Okay. The red planet.
Yes, it's got this distinctive red color.
Right.
And did you know it has the biggest volcano in our solar system?
No way.
It's called Olympus Mons,
Okay.
and it's a shield volcano,
Okay.
3 times taller than Mount Everest.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
That's massive.
Yeah, the Martian landscape is pretty dramatic.
I bet it is.
All right, next up is Jupiter.
Oh, wow. The big one.
Yeah, the king of the planets.
So what's so special about Jupiter?
Well, first of all, it's absolutely enormous.
I know it's big, but like how big?
All the other planets in our solar system could fit inside it.
Really?
with room to spare.
Wow.
If Jupiter was hollow, you could fit over 1,300 Earths inside it.
1,300. That's mind-blowing.
I know, and it's mostly made of gas.
Really? What kind of gas?
Hydrogen and helium.
So it's just like a giant ball of gas.
Well, scientists think it might have a solid core way down deep.
We don't know for sure.
Not yet.
That's so cool.
All right, moving on to Saturn.
Oh, yeah. The one with the rings.
Saturn's rings are one of the most iconic sights in our solar system.
I bet they're amazing to see through a telescope.
They're made up of billions of icy particles.
Wow.
Some are tiny, like grains of dust.
Okay.
And some are huge, like chunks of ice.
Wow. And they're all just orbiting Saturn.
Yeah, it's this amazing dance of ice and gravity.
I've heard that other planets have rings, too.
They do. Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune all have rings.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But Saturn's are the biggest and brightest.
Okay, that's why they're so famous.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered the rocky planets and the gas giants.
Yes.
What about Uranus and Neptune?
The ice giants.
Right, they're a little harder to see.
You'll need binoculars or a telescope to spot them. Okay.
But they're definitely worth a look.
What makes them so special?
Well, Uranus is kind of a weirdo.
What do you mean?
It's tilted on its side.
Like sideways?
Yeah, so it spins differently than all the other planets.
Wow.
And because of that, it has these extreme seasons.
What do you mean by extreme?
Well, each pole gets decades of sunlight.
Decades?
Yeah, and then decades of darkness.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
And then there's Neptune.
Okay, what's weird about Neptune?
It's incredibly windy.
Windy? How windy are we talking?
The winds can reach over 1,200 miles per hour.
1,200 miles an hour.
Yes. That's faster than the speed of sound.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, Neptune is a wild place.
So we've got Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune.
That's our lineup.
What a cast of characters.
And we get to see them all together in this planetary parade.
It's going to be amazing.
So are you ready to learn how to make sure you don't miss it?
Absolutely. I don't want to miss this.
Me neither.
Yeah.
We'll make sure you have all the information you need. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, so we're going to see this amazing planetary parade.
Yes, and we want to make sure everybody knows how to see it.
Right, we want the best view.
Exactly. So first things first.
Location, location, location.
Location. That's right. We need to find a dark spot.
Away from city lights.
Exactly. All those city lights.
Yeah.
They create what's called light pollution.
Right.
And it makes it hard to see the stars and the planets.
It's like trying to see a candle in a bright room.
Exactly. You need darkness to see those faint objects.
So the darker the better.
The darker the better if you can get out of the city. Go somewhere more rural.
Yeah.
That's your best bet.
And what about like trees and buildings and stuff?
Oh, yeah. You want a clear view of the western horizon.
Yeah.
Because remember, the planets are going to be lined up,
Right.
starting low in the sky and going up.
After sunset.
After sunset, that's right.
Okay, so dark location.
Yes.
Clear view to the west.
Yes.
Anything else?
Well, we know the date.
February 28th, 2025.
But what about the time?
The best time is just after sunset.
Okay.
That's when the sky is dark enough to start seeing the planets.
Okay.
But they're not too low on the horizon yet.
Got it. So like that twilight time.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And then as it gets darker,
Yeah.
the planets will become even more visible.
Oh, I bet that will be beautiful.
It will be spectacular.
Okay, so we've got our location.
Yeah.
We got our timing. Now let's talk about safety.
Oh, right. Always important.
Especially when we're dealing with the sun. So rule number 1,
Okay.
never look directly at the sun,
Even during sunset.
even during sunset.
Okay.
It can damage your eyes.
Right.
And if you're using binoculars or a telescope, make sure they have solar filters.
Oh, right. Special filters just for the sun.
Exactly, because those magnify the sunlight and you can really hurt your eyes.
I've heard horror stories.
Oh, dude.
I'll be careful.
Always.
Okay, what else?
Choose a safe viewing location,
Good.
stable level ground,
Away from traffic and obstacles.
and let somebody know where you're going.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going somewhere remote.
Exactly.
What about the weather?
Oh, yes, the weather. That's important.
We need clear skies.
Clear skies are ideal.
Even a few clouds can mess things up.
They can, so make sure you check the forecast
Right.
as we get closer to February 28th.
Okay, fingers crossed for clear skies.
Fingers crossed.
I have one more tool.
Okay, what is it?
A stargazing app.
Oh, yeah, those are great.
Super helpful.
But how will that help us with the planetary parade?
They show you where to look.
Oh.
You just point your phone at the sky,
Okay.
and it'll tell you what you're looking at.
Like which planets or which?
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like having a personal guide to the night sky.
Are there any particular apps you recommend?
Skyview is good.
Okay.
Star Walk.
Okay.
Stellarium.
Okay. Those all sound great.
They are.
We'll make sure we put links to those in the show notes. So let's recap. We need a dark location with a clear view of the western horizon. We need to be there just after sunset on February 28th, 2025.
Right.
We need to be safe, protect our eyes, and choose a safe spot.
Yeah.
And a stargazing app can help us find those planets.
Exactly.
But it's not just about checking boxes.
Right.
This is about experiencing something amazing.
It is.
It's about connecting with the universe.
I'm feeling that sense of wonder.
I think it might even inspire some people to
Yeah.
learn more about astronomy,
I hope so.
to explore the night sky on their own.
That'd be great.
So mark your calendars.
February 28th, 2025.
Get ready for an incredible show.
It's going to be unforgettable.
But before we go out and see it for ourselves,
Uh-huh.
let's talk about the history.
Oh, yeah.
The cultural significance of planetary parades.
Because this isn't just a modern thing.
Right. People have been fascinated by these events for centuries.
I'm ready to dive into that.
We've talked about the how and the when for this parade.
Yeah, the science behind it all.
Yeah. But I want to talk about the human side of this.
The human side.
Yeah, for centuries, people have looked up at the sky
Yeah.
and seen these planets and, made up stories
Oh, yeah.
and beliefs and even predictions.
Right, like they thought it meant something.
It was a sign or something.
Way before they knew about, orbits and stuff.
Exactly. So imagine, we could travel back in time.
Okay.
What would people think about this planetary parade?
Oh, they'd freak out.
They probably would.
I mean, think about, ancient Rome.
Okay.
They thought comets were, bad omens.
Really?
Yeah, if a comet showed up, it meant, an emperor was going to die or they were going to lose a battle.
Wow. So they must have been terrified.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's so interesting how something we can explain with science now
Right.
used to be so mysterious and scary.
But we didn't know any better.
Right. It's like the power of the unknown.
Exactly. And it wasn't just the Romans.
Oh, I bet other cultures had their own interpretations.
Oh, yeah, in ancient China.
Okay.
They had these court astronomers.
Like official sky watchers.
Yeah. And they kept these detailed records
Of what?
of where the planets were.
Okay.
Because they thought it told them about the emperor and the empire.
Like if the planets were aligned in a good way?
Yeah, then everything would be fine.
Okay.
But if they weren't, bad things were going to happen.
So basically everybody was looking for messages from the cosmos.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it makes sense.
It does.
You look up and see all these planets lined up.
It's got to mean something.
It feels like something big.
It does, even though now we know, it's just orbits and stuff.
Right.
But there's still something kind of magical about it.
Yeah. It's still awe-inspiring.
It is.
This 2025 parade.
Yeah.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Well, we won't see it again until 2040.
Right. So it's like a rare gift.
The cosmic gift.
Yeah. We get to see something that people have been watching.
For thousands of years.
And wondering about.
And trying to figure out.
And even though we have science now,
Yeah.
it still makes you think.
About our place in the universe.
About how vast and mysterious it all is.
It's humbling.
It is.
But in a good way.
So when we go out and see this planetary parade,
On February 28th.
let's not just think about the science.
Right.
Let's think about the history, too.
Yeah.
All the people who have looked up at these same planets.
And wondered.
And dreamed.
And tried to understand.
It's a connection to our past.
And to something much bigger than ourselves.
This deep dive has been amazing.
It has.
We've talked about science, history, a little bit of philosophy.
All because of these planets.
Yeah, who knew planets could be so inspiring?
It's all about perspective.
So we hope you'll join us on February 28th, 2025
Yeah.
to witness this incredible planetary parade.
It's going to be amazing.
And remember to keep looking up
Always.
and never stop exploring.
The universe is full of wonders.
Thanks for listening.